So do we want to go to the...
He must
so
succeed in blowing up the guard.
Is there anything happening when we wake up? Like any fun...
yeah,
Or we
by
put
the
the keys up
time
on the table.
Sawyer, please. By the time you wake up and you head outside and you notice most of the camp is already pretty active. There are people crafting in the workshop sort of area. Calder is training people in the training area. There are people starting to sort of try and build rudimentary structures so that they have more than tents, and there's actual hustle and bustle. There are refugees moving into the camp, you see.
You know what we should do, actually? Is, what was the name of that Thane? What was his last name? Thane,
Hammersturmer.
Okay, Thane Hammersturmer. Does he have any... I guess I'd ask Sabine, does he have any relatives that are here in this
We
camp?
know of one, but we don't know.
Wait.
He has a son. um, he's actually he used to be working for the venture company, but when we moved to the area, he was at the tournament. You might have seen him. I actually think he might have beat you guys at one point.
I do remember him.
He also was in an archery contest with someone in our party at one point.
So, because we can use or help, not help. We can kind of, if we wanted to, find him.
You want it?
And bring him with us to Stormhold, and maybe he could have a little bit of leverage in helping us convince Thane.
He's our current envoy. His dad kind of hates him.
Jesus
Christ.
Oh.
Gage, what the fuck?
What?
Gage just donated like 1,500 bits. Alright.
Nice.
Good luck, Sawyer.
Damn. I topped that 2K.
You know, I work for my bits. I don't just go spending money like it's some pay-to-win game.
You work for your bits by watching ads for 30 seconds.
On
Jesus Christ.
And then clicking a button.
Dude, I did it for like 4 hours straight one night because it let me.
That's a little pathetic.
I had nothing to do.
How did you spend your evening? Watching ads.
Not even watching ads.
Watching ads to throw
on
pennies at my
mute.
cousin on Twitch.
Hey, whatever makes you happy. Right?
Well, grazie, Gage. Sorry, what were you saying, Bear?
The younger Roderick is our current envoy. We sort of had the same idea that you did, but it turns out his dad hates him. I guess he's a little bit of a runt, and his dad mostly favors strength, which I suppose is why Aurelia thinks Grizz here might be able to get through to him.
Okay. Well, so much for that idea. So you guys want to do that right away? You guys have something you want to do first?
I would like to be able to get to the blowing up of the peoples.
Sure. Well, in order to do that, we kind of have to talk to this dwarf Thane first, probably. I guess we don't have to. I guess we could talk to Aurelia and say that we're ready. But I feel like it's better to talk to this guy first. Isn't
Why
it?
don't we go talk to Aurelia and get the information, and then if it's on the way to the dwarf, we do that as well.
Liz, you're trying so hard to not
I mean, we'll go to the dwarf after we get information on the mission or whatever.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
We're gonna
Alright,
go to there eventually. Okay.
The dwarf is like, I don't want to hear all those fucking dwarves.
I hate dwarves.
They're gonna make fun of me.
Beard isn't long enough. Sure. Well, I guess we can talk to Aurelia then.
Alright. So you freaking... Yeah. You move up and you go talk to Aurelia. Oh, I guess Calder's off training people.
Goatman.
I'll get her attention. Say, hello. We believe that we're ready to get information.
Bring the fight to the enemy!
I just kind of nod and just kind of motion towards him, like, yeah, that's
As always, Goldrin, your enthusiasm is much appreciated. That's why I keep it up. And, you notice Elizabeth and Sabina just sort of heavily roll their eyes. So she points at the map on the table. Most of, guess I should let you know how we stand. Most of the region, surrounding Stormhold, we've been able to secure, with the help of the dwarves. They've kept it pretty clean, but outside of there, people are encountering White Mantle pretty much all over the place. Except immediately at Venture Town up to the northwest, but you probably want to steer clear of there yourselves. It's not the nicest place in the universe.
Why is that?
So, the weaker government structure of the region has left a lot of people relying on outside help for essentially just labor and protection. There was an organization called the Venture Company who was the main proprietor of those sort of services in the region, and I guess over the years they were able to build up a town around their HQ because they were getting so much money. They're honestly just military contractors who are only in it for the money, and it's not the most savory place. It's not like you're gonna walk there and they're gonna beat you to death, but you know, I wouldn't wander down any back alleys there if you have to go. But, you know, they've got muscle so they can keep their own place safe. So I imagine that's why there's not much White Mantle around there. We don't really know of many locations where the White Mantle are holed up. They sort of took a cellular structure where you have individual squads of, 10 to 15 people who are doing their own thing, and they only have, they don't communicate with each other, so there's not much intel on how many there are or where all of them are located. We have gotten some information from our scouts that there is a White Mantle camp to the west of here, in between the main road and the city of Siri. There's a trading post that they appear to be using as an intermediary, and we think we might be able to take them out and hopefully get some further information on their
home base, maybe?
activities. Yeah.
Okay. So that would probably be a good lead for us then.
That's our best lead currently. Other than just wandering around scouting or hoping to run into them. We've unfortunately lost some of our better scouts recently. We don't know if they're dead, but they're certainly missing in action. So our intel has been cut off.
Perhaps they're being held prisoner.
That's what we're hoping.
I look over at Grizz and I say, well, good news, my friend. That camp is in the complete opposite direction of where the dwarves are located, so...
What are you talking about? We have to go talk to the dwarves.
Right.
I'm greatly looking forward to this.
I'm sure you are.
Roll a bluff check.
Do I roll
you're
sense
not.
motive?
You're not fooling anybody.
Is the city of Siri? Is it a city? I guess.
It's more of a town.
Is that inhabited by the White Mantle then?
Not that we're aware of.
Hmm.
Who is it inhabited by, mainly?
Farmers,
Oh,
traders,
So it's
some
kind of a-
local government.
mostly a civilian town.
Yeah. Really the only military operations around here are here and here, the Venture Town and Stormhold. There are some watchtowers and some outposts that sometimes guards from nearby towns will occupy, but there's not a whole lot of infrastructure set up here. Most of the places keep to themselves.
Well, I suppose this is as good a lead as any, so is there anything else that you know?
Well, I'll have your attention. I don't know if it was pointed out to you, but we do have a crafting area over there. You guys look pretty well stocked, but our smiths might be able to whip something up for you if you need additional armaments. A lot of them are working sort of freelance, so you might, need payment. And our main smith, Zedra, is doing a lot of mainly she's trying to arm recruits and forces and people who aren't so cheap gestures to you and how you're already totally fucking decked out and horrifying shit.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And she is doing some I guess you'd call it equipment research on the side. Something to do with magical inscriptions, and I guess there's some sort of new crossbow type weapon that she's discovered that she's trying to work a way to make practical, but
Well, perhaps we'll talk to her before heading out. But payment, speaking of payment, what can we expect for doing this, I guess, mainly reconnaissance / skirmish?
well, it's an abandoned trading outpost, so I'm sure there's probably stuff lying around there, and we'll probably be able to comp you some items to add to your arsenal from time to time.
Alright. I look around at everyone else. They want something to say.
So anything you want me to tell the dwarves?
Anything is better than what's been going on with our current envoy. So,
Your
The
current
chosen speaker,
envoy.
Lance.
yeah.
Who's that?
It is the Thane's son.
Oh. Is he here in the camp?
Sabina turns to you and she's like, "Didn't I just tell you all of this 10 minutes ago?"
Probably.
He's staying at Stormhold.
As I say, I'm pretty sure. I just asked her
I
about all that
probably
stuff.
I probably was over there,
True, you did get up, I think. So
but
you're the
yes,
chosen speaker, Lance. You're the chosen one.
that's
Don't
where
mess
you
it up.
messed up. Okay. Very well. We will go talk to the dwarves and then deal with this trading post. Yeah.
Do we want to talk to Zedra first, the smith?
Yes, that too.
So, you walk over to the crafting area, and
Some crafts, oh boy.
Finger painting, by the way.
that's the wrong screen. Boop. So you make your way over there, and there are a lot of people smithing stuff and making weapon and armor and shit. But, person who sticks out, the only person who's in official Shining Blade attire, is a tiny gnome. She appears to be holding some kind of strange metal crossbow type contraption. But you've seen this before. And it was many a moon ago. You looted some smaller ones of these from...
Yeah, I remember that.
That was so long ago.
That was like the first fucking night.
That was like the first fucking night. She looks like she's etching some shit into the barrel. Hold on.
What did we do with those?
We gave them to Edison, I'm pretty sure. Or he sold them.
No, this is I'm doing. Oh,
It's a major event, so like the top of
I mean, how far are you watching it?
Tell him to eat a dick.
Like how far back does it? I really only care about top 8s. Watch. Thanks.
So what do we?
Top
What
8
do
of
we?
what?
What do we ever do
Stun
with those?
You sold them to Edison.
Yeah.
Stunfest, it's a fighting game major. They just got finished with it and my roommate was watching it, but I like to watch those as well, so he was asking if I wanted him to wait to watch it, and I only care about top 8, so if
There
he
you
watches
go.
anything other than top 8, then I don't care.
All right.
Your roommate's not even good at fighting.
I'm aware. Neither am I, but I enjoy watching them.
Yeah,
So-
but you also didn't, like, spend 3 weeks breaking Tekken sticks.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about this right now. So anyway, yeah, there's this tiny little gnome etching away at a... We're just gonna call it a gun. We're not gonna be coy. It's a gun, but you don't know it's a gun. Because this is Dungeons and Dragons, and this is new technology. Haha. It's funny, because we know what it is, but nobody in story does.
What the hell is that?
She, presumably you, like, walk over to her before just yelling this, or do you just...
What the hell is that?
You walk into the crafting area.
I know
What
what
the
it is.
hell
I was
is that?
just saying that. Because we were the ones that looted them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's the same ones.
It's a gnome.
X-Files.
That gnome is racist.
No, I
Wait,
don't.
I
I don't
get-
say that.
Okay, yeah, her back is turned to you. So,
I forgot
Who's
where
doing
it
it?
was.
Who's Zerdra?
Zedra.
Zedra. Who's doing the talk?
Not it.
Hey, I guess I'll do the talk.
Oh god, this'll go great.
So her back is turned. I approach the. I'm assuming there's a counter between us or something. Or is it like an open area?
It's like an open area. She has, like,
Okay.
some crafting implements. So, like, it's almost like a workbench crafting desk kind of thing. There's sort of a makeshift wall set up that has tools, and there's
I'll,
an anvil and some forge. She has, like, a
there's-
workstation, and she's on a stool type chair thing.
there's stuff like hanging from like the tops of her tent or whatever. Like little.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just like walk up and I'll kind of like fumble, like kind of run my hand down one of the things hanging up, and I'll just kind of go.
She gives sort of a little grunt of acknowledgement, but continues working on her thing.
I'll say, so what are you working on over there?
This is an experimental weapon prototype.
And I haven't, I didn't see what she was working on, right? You just
No.
told like that.
No, you
Oh.
you can see it. It's
Oh.
it's larger than she is, so
But do I immediately recognize it as the same kind of weapon that we sold to Edison?
make a wisdom check.
Oh God.
Yeah, you recognize it.
I'll say, that contraption you have in your hands there, I believe I recognize that. I've carried one of those before.
Interesting. It wouldn't surprise me. We didn't make these. We got them from some people out west. Terribly inefficient. I don't know why anyone would use it, but I am trying to fix that.
How are you trying to fix that?
It appears that the primary function of this weapon is, you load it with a chemical powder, and the powder explodes and sends a projectile out. But the loading of the mechanism is terrible. It takes way too long, and it's inaccurate. But I think if I put the right magical enchanting and runes on it, I can get it to materialize these projectiles in a tiny explosion to launch them without having to reload it in the conventional sense. Add in some additional energy, and I can put some magical spin on it, and we should be able to get a well-functioning weapon.
Sindrik's gonna kind of perk up a little bit because he heard explosions, and he's gonna say, "Do these projectiles that it launches explode?"
I mean, I could make them, probably.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm
not sure.
I'm intrigued.
Be terribly inefficient, though. Again, she sort of reaches over to the table and reaches into a sort of box-type thing and pulls out this tiny iron shot. I'd probably have to inscribe something on each of these to make them explode, and the time it would take me in order to instill that on each of them would, it's not worth the effort. Getting these to shoot them repeatedly, it's much more damaging than a bow.
Could
turning them
you
into
use
tiny bombs?
the beads from necklaces of fireballs to
I feel like that'd be highly
accomplish
expensive.
the same thing?
Here's the issue. Those beads, whenever they're exposed to a fiery blast, then they have a chance of exploding themselves. Since we're shooting the projectile out with an explosion, that means there's going to be a failure chance that the entire thing just explodes on its own. Plus, you're looking at 150 gold per bead thereabout. And, it's incredibly expensive. We're already trying to contain the explosions that these things do on their own without adding a volatile component. And it's much cheaper to spend, 5 copper on this iron ball than there is to get a bead of fireball for each of them.
I'll say, well, my companions and I were told that you were a master smithy and you were in possession of some armaments that we might be able to procure, because we are out here to work for the Shining Blade, and anything that you could provision us with would be pretty helpful.
She turns around. She has a very dour face, you notice. You think she's judging you. Not specifically like she's judging you, but that she's just sort of an unhappy, judgmental person in general. That's what her face says. Her portrait is very accurate. Right now, my job is to work on new ways to fight the White Mantle and get armor and weapons to our recruits. I'm sure if you put a commission in and we get it approved from the higher-ups, that I might be able to whip something up for you, but right now, I've got nothing.
I'm gonna make a knowledge arcana check real quickly here. I want to check to see if I would be able to think of a way to inscribe the gun. I'm gonna make that suggestion. Actually, I'm gonna say instead of I can't think. I'll say specifically to her. I can't think of a way to do this myself. But would it be possible to inscribe the gun to be enchanted to cause the copper pellets to explode on their own upon impact?
Iron, to start with.
Iron.
I had that thought. We do similar things with bows and crossbows, but if you've noticed, when you do that to another weapon, they only explode some of the time. There's a finite amount of magic we can put in one of these things. I don't know how much it's going to take in order to create the explosion and generate the projectile inside of this. I don't know if there's going to be room enough to inscribe something that's going to cause an explosion on it all the time.
Question to you, Barry, just as the DM, how common are, like, homunculi and other things in
Not
this world?
very.
Okay, so Sindrik probably wouldn't have the thought to think of homunculi, but could I make a roll to see if I would?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know where this is going at all, but...
Knowledge Arcana, question mark?
He wants
Yeah.
machine guns.
Okay, you know what a homunculus is.
Okay. Do I know whether or not a homunculi could be utilized to auto-inscribe the bullets as it's shooting them or something? Basically, I'm thinking of turning the gun into a form of homunculi.
Make another check.
Okay.
You don't know a whole lot about homunculi to know whether or not you could or you couldn't.
Could I still suggest it as, like, a possibility?
I'm not gonna stop you from suggesting it.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna make that suggestion to the lady here. Would it be possible to turn the gun into this weapon prototype into some form of homunculi and have that trained to auto-inscribe bullets that it's expending with magical, like, explosive properties?
She looks at you and sets down the gun and looks to the side and just does one of the... First of all, I want you to look at this, and she motions you over. Gestures.
I'm gonna happily float on over.
Gesture to the barrel of the gun.
She pulls the trigger.
What can you see about the room in that there?
I mean, there doesn't appear to be a lot.
Correct.
And I don't know much about homunculi, but it's just a suggestion.
Homunculi aren't going to get that small. Second of all, even if you have a homunculus, it's still going to take time to etch each of the things. If I was going to do that, I'd make one and I'd have it etch the bullets individually. But we don't have that kind of resources. Third of all, like...
Could the homunculus be trained to etch loaded bullets overnight?
Loaded, but... If the bullet's in the gun, and she doesn't call it a gun, whatever she calls it, I don't fucking know. If the bullet's in the device, then how's a homunculus gonna etch it? Like, it's a thought, but it's totally impractical. We don't have the resources to just have an army of homunculus around here. So you gotta, like, use a portion of your soul for most homunculi. We can't just, I can't be like, she gestures over to the side and she's like, "Hey, Rick!" And some guy who's working on a sword over on an anvil is like, "What you want, Zed? You wanna take a portion of your soul to get a homunculus to frickin' etch some runes on these tiny little iron balls? You're fucking crazy, Zed. See, when this is an operation here.
In the middle of her musings, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna look at Grizz and just kind of like shrug and like kind of put my hands up like whatever, and I'm just gonna say underneath my breath, it doesn't seem like she really helped us. I figured she had stuff at the ready, but apparently she doesn't. So I suggest we get moving.
I just gave you guys a bunch of shit. I'm not gonna give you guys a bunch of shit immediately.
40,000 more
money
gold,
for shit
please.
right now.
No, all I wanted was see if she had like magical arrows or some shit. That's all. Well, she has like 1,000 of those.
No.
Well, those are commonplace, if that's all you wanted. But
But yeah, I'm just gonna
anyway, I'm
kinda
just gonna
fuck
say,
off.
I mean, hey,
I would feel like I would have
If-
walked off like halfway through this conversation.
Oh yeah, you totally would have.
if you can find a way to automate the process of creating explosive projectiles, it might be worth it. You never know.
Balthassar's just sitting there like.
She just sighs heavily and turns back. Sindrik turns around and notices that he's the only person.
You
But-
don't need a rocket launcher. You have fucking fireballs already.
Hey man, if I can shoot rockets and still, retain my magical abilities for the day, hell yeah.
Grizz, so as I'm walking away with Grizz, I'm just gonna say, well, while he's debating the finer musings of how explodey devices work, did you want to go to Stormhold? Is that what your plan was?
Just leave him in the fucking camp.
No, we're not gonna leave him. I'm like talking to I'm gonna have Sindrik come with us, but he's busy talking about guns, so.
Yes, I suppose going to Stormhold should be the next course of action, especially since we know of at least one person there already, Roderick or whatever.
Right.
We should make negotiations a little easier.
Well, whenever Sindrik's done talking about whatever the fuck,
What's a hamakadu?
Oh shit. I just realized, Bear, my profession, for my class skills, I said is, pyrotechnics.
Okay, so you know how to make black powder, but you don't know how to magically inscribe something.
powder.
No. But
treating
I could come up with a way to make explosive rounds.
Can you have like the
No.
gun be tested on Sawyer?
I'm considering it.
Listen, I'm just saying that, like, this is a possibility. You can't be mad at me for playing by the rules of the game.
Let's kill some shit. This gnome's gonna get really... She's gonna call the guards on you, Sawyer.
I don't know if there even are any
The
guards here.
Shining Blade guards.
Yeah,
The
there's
goat
guards.
man.
There's dwarf guards.
Oh yeah, the dwarves. Right. The turquoise armor.
But
She's like, stop
anyway.
talking to me.
Alright, I'll end my conversation with the gnome since I've gone off into a different direction than everybody else wants to deal with.
I think most people just want to kill something.
Sindrik agrees.
That's why
Well,
why he's
good
sitting
thing-
around having these
Good
conversations.
thing we're going to Stormhold to not kill things.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get a fully automatic rocket launcher.
You're not
Is
gonna get a
that
fucking
something that's
rocket
so,
launcher.
Is that something that seems unreasonable? Like, I wouldn't even have
Yes.
to cast spells anymore. I'd go from a mage to a fucking bombardier in a minute.
First of all,
D&D, go play Call of Duty.
these still have recoil.
I mean, they added Call of
So-
Duty to the Blizzard app, so come on.
Yeah.
I could fly around and literally shoot people with a rocket launcher from the air.
Sorry, this
It'd
is
be
your
fucking
dolphin
dope.
bear thing all over again.
This might be
Dude,
worse.
the dolphin bear idea was fucking dope.
Alright, I'm going to start walking towards the fucking stronghold.
Let's get the fuck out of this
It's
camp.
getting
dude.
ridiculous. Oh, let me rephrase. I'm going to start sprinting towards
Anyway, sure, yes, I will find a way to politely exit the conversation.
No,
And
she's
then-
she's ignoring you at this point. She turned her back on you.
Okay, the last 10 minutes have been not in character conversation.
Oh,
Because the
Yeah.
last 10 minutes was all of us just discussing, like, the situation.
So we get to the stronghold.
So I'm politely exiting the conversation and rejoining my group to leave.
Stronghold.
so
Hey, look at that, we're here.
you get to Stormhold.